One copy has all the stations in the state of New York. The other one, all the PBS stations. The other one is missing the one station where I was legally qualified.
Now, what does that got to do with filing in New Hampshire?
It has a lot to do with it, because in '88 I came here and I filed and I was on the ballot, and a lot of people voted for me out of only maybe 250 people seeing my speech. But the interesting thing is about the beginning of my campaign for president in 1980 is that I have a case pending in the Supreme Court that hangs by a Kevlar thread. And what I'm showing is that they removed the one case from the written record so that no one would ever know that I was really legally entitled to make the speech that I wanted to make. I believe that Justice Douglas cited this case in a famous telecommunications case that came out in 1980, and that they removed his citation after he's submitted his galleys. So if I can get back into the Supreme Court, this case will be reopened, and then Justice Stevens is liable to hit the ceiling because somebody from FBI or somewhere altered his writing after the galleys.
Is that why you want to run?
No, that's just a sidelight. But you say, why do I mention the thing in 1980? It's very important because the FCC lied and cheated.
But what brings you to file to run for president now?
Oh, well, I've wanted to be the president since I was 4 years old. And what I created was a spoken poem for all mankind that I could give the world as president, but as a private citizen, I can't get anywhere. So I have all these giant ideas that'll make us a better country and bring the world to a better place. So it seems to me I ought to be the president of the United States, otherwise I'll never be able to do these things.
Thank you.
Is that good? Is that
That's
reasonable?
exactly what I want. Thank you.
They're kind of humorous. Dennis Kucinich is humorous. The Senator Gravel, they're decent people. I'm not saying these are bad here on a Tuesday. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, she'll be in all these other states bunched up doing fundraisers where it's a controlled audience and a controlled speech. So you never get anything but from third parties. Well, she's really got a very, she's really very humorous.
Oh, he's filing for Hillary by proxy. I understand.
What she's all about is in the first debate with Barack Obama. Barkey's standing here and she was to his left if you were watching it on your television. And he was saying, well, we got to turn page. And she had this real stern, fierce look on her face. You know what I'm trying to say. At all, no matter who you are.
Did he file already to defeat the Graham?
She will be a
Or not?
You know what, guys? I'm
He's talking.
Keep talking. And he says to me, listen, man, I'll tell you why she's running. She's running because she wants to put Bill back in the White House. Bill, will you love me now? The guy's right here. That's why she's not
Somebody.
Hey, Jim, if we take up a collection for you.
So you drove from Florida?
Raise $1,000.
Exactly.
Somebody just give me some quarters, I gotta refill my meter.
Could we just like
I
put you in
didn't
if
run
we
in
raise
2000.
Let them pay for it.
Exactly.
As I said, as it's in New World Order, that the FBI,
got the charisma.
they have flooded the
exactly.
ballot here. If you guys
got
from
the
the
name.
press
And the
would just
name
go and look at all the people from 92 and 96, call them on the phone, get the list from Bill, and say, gee, you were a candidate, what did you do, why did you run? You're gonna meet people that are gonna swear up and down they weren't candidates and they weren't anything, because they were sponsored by the FBI to flood the ballot. Then the TV station goes, oh, well, we can't let you speak, because then what about all these other people, which is against the ruling of the Supreme Court, but they don't care. So then you file with the FCC and they sit on your complaint and you never get to speak. That's not why these kids died in Iraq.
How about in 2004, did you run that?
I ran, but I was only a stealth candidate, but I didn't file. For the same reason.
So you filed in 88, you filed in 92?
In 92 and
Filed in
96.
96.
Oh, yeah, sure.
2000 to 2004.
No, because I thought I'd better lay in the weeds, I'm patient. I'm waiting 40 years to give a speech.
Today you're symbolically filing papers, but you're...
Right, because I knew you would all be here. You see, with all these TV stations bunched against New Hampshire, all the other states rather, I can then go to these states and find out which ones have write-in candidates, have room for a write-in, then I can send them a certified letter, and as long as there's 10, like this is a state where you can do that, okay, I don't have to file a certified letter, I'm doing it right here.
I know.
So in all these other states, find 10 states where I'm legally qualified, and I can then apply to NBC, ABC, CBS, and PBS to make a 2-hour speech.
You could get a set like he's trying to...
Well, I may do that if I have enough time. Yeah, they didn't have that in the law in 1988 or 92. They didn't have that back then. But if I'm able to get back up there and get into the high schools, I'll do a petition thing.
Why the high school? I mean, wouldn't it be better to go places where more of the people can vote?
Well, high school kids are old enough to vote. It's one place. They all have parents. And I can get in there.
Why not just go for the parents?
Well, I can go to restaurants and places like that. How many people live in the state of New Hampshire? Okay, so how many am I going to get to meet? Not hardly that many, but in a high school, I got 30 or 40 kids an hour. I mean, that's a way better thing than, and to go to restaurants and meet people and maybe have, if members of the lower house, if 30 or 40 of them will put me up, then I'm here and I'm running a campaign without any money, and this is great for the state of New Hampshire.
What do you do when you're not campaigning?
I stopped working. I was working at various different jobs, and I spent 3 years writing New World hors d'oeuvres. And then I'm sort of like hanging around trying to decide what should I do. I could go back and sell cars or something like that, but I'm also 65. So I get a small Social Security check. It's terrible, but it's enough to, I accidentally, I'll tell you what I did. I was selling cars for a giant company in St. Petersburg, and I sold an envoy to a lady who was on the Housing Authority Board of Directors. And I said, I'm not Section 8, but I had a slow year last year. And so she showed me a building, or she sent me to some building, and I got into a building where the rent is capped. It's a $700 a month apartment I paid for, but if I want to go with just my meager income, they'll do 30% and charge me like $90 a month for an $800 a month apartment. This is only available to the people that can get into these buildings. And, you know, there's like waiting lists miles long, and I just happen to like catch the right deal. So I'm really not working, but I'd like to, you know, like teach, but I'm blacklisted everywhere. I mean, FBI marked me down a long time ago. The biggest file there ever is the one they have on me. That's why it's taken me all of these years just to like almost get my message out. I had to wait for YouTube and things like that. You can go to YouTube and you can see the speech I made in '88. It's up there. No. But J. Edgar Hoover had an idea that if he didn't like you, then they made your life difficult. And everyone thinks that after they had the church committee hearings, that was all over, but it wasn't. The FBI was in charge of giving out to the church committee what they wanted to give them, which was only the tip of the iceberg. So what do? They changed the name of their operation and stamp it classified top secret, and so you don't know anything. You just don't. It's really unfortunate. But if they were focused on protecting us, we the people, then we wouldn't have 9/11, wouldn't have happened. And the solution there with the FBI is to change the name of the buildings. It's one of my plans. That's to rename the whole FBI after John P. O'Neill, the guy that died on September 11th, who was the FBI agent that had gone after bin Laden. Then they pushed him out of the Bureau. So all of those buildings will be renamed the John P. O'Neill Bureau of, not Federal Bureau of Investigation, but Bureau of Federal Investigation, PFI. Simple name change.
Save the money?
Jim Coles?
PFI.
Where's Jim Coles? You got a parking ticket. This is for Jim? I didn't get a parking ticket. I put a quarter in. But I was ready to put a quarter in for him. Where's Secretary Gardner?
I don't know where you're from here, but you got a lot of great folks.
Bill, I have the check for you, just to cover all bases.
Oh, is this
Ready?
it?
Stop his car.
Okay.
He stole it off
I'll
his
keep taking
car.
off the car. I'll give it to you.
Damn you.
Jim Coles got it. I did. And I'm sweaty. Yep.